Since appearing on Jeff FM, Jeff Wittek's podcast, Tana Mongeau and Jeff Wittek have become really close. So it's been surprising for people to see her hanging out with David Dobrik. You know, the guy who Jeff regularly calls out and openly hates, the guy who nearly unalived Jeff. It's well known that Tana and David Dobrik have been friends for a while, but this time seeing them together was a little different. And that's because on the latest podcast episode of Jeff FM, Tana and Jeff talk about David Dobrik a bit. Like, they really foreshadowed this incident. First, Tana talks about how there's this one club that David Dobrik always goes to every Thursday, and she regularly sees him there. And around when this podcast episode was filmed, she was asked to go to that club, and she thought that was not good to go to the club and see David before seeing Jeff. She said, imagine I'm on my Instagram story, making a post about being with David Dobrik, and then my next post is with Jeff.
I was debating on being real toxic before our flight. Our flight's at 5 a.m. I was debating on going to the club tonight, and they were like, come to Dobrik's table. And
no
I was
way.
Dobrik's table before a Jeff
story.
flight. This is not a made-up story. He goes to this specific club every Thursday, and I see him there a lot. But I mean, I was like, damn, Dobrik's table before a Jeff FM paid for flight. Just imagine though, I'm on my stories at Dobrik's table at the club, and then the next slide is you.
Yeah,
Jeff responded by saying that he would be done with her, the podcast would be done, she would be replaced.
I'm gonna post you on the fucking on my feed. A screenshot of whatever you post. I'm just gonna post that with a red X over it.
Over the whole thing.
Off the meds is done.
Done for. You think that's how we'll end?
Or I'll just keep it going.
Do you think that's how we'll end though?
I'll replace you.
You would.
Then shortly after that podcast episode was posted, it was seen on Tana's Instagram story that she was taking shots with David Dobrik at the club that Thursday. It's been a couple days since then, and Jeff has not responded or anything, but people are curious as to if he's going to respond or not. And maybe this was all planned, because just before that, in the podcast episode, Tana and Jeff were talking about how they haven't argued or fought or anything. So maybe this will be a little podcast segment thing they'll do next episode. I don't know, just to have something to talk about, get clicks. I don't know.
We should fight on the show, though, soon.
Well, I'm sure we'll naturally have an argument soon.
We've never fought, have we?
Also, I would just like to point out that Tana does still follow David Dobrik on Instagram, but he doesn't follow her. But yeah, Tana just kind of betrayed Jeff there, and people do not like that. They were really digging their vibes. They really like the podcast, and they don't want it to end, and they really like their friendship, too. But before all this happened, Tana and Jeff were actually called out on TikTok. They were both invited to New York Fashion Week, and they both went together, and Tana made a TikTok about them not being interested in the fashion shows and just being there for clout. People just thought it came off as being ungrateful, that she's invited to New York Fashion Week and she's not even appreciating it or watching the fashion shows, or at least just acting interested. And someone made a TikTok in response to Tana and Jeff being there and not being grateful about it. And Tana and Jeff actually made a little micro podcast episode on her TikTok, and they responded to this one TikTok someone made about that TikTok that she posted.
What's up, guys, and welcome back to a new segment Jeff and I are introducing, calling micro podcasting.
We just invented it. It's called a micropod. We need to emergency address something that just
situation that we're in. We will be addressing a TikTok that was made about us, more so me, honestly, by a woman named Monica. Not Tana Mongeau being invited to a fashion show, getting dressed by them, only to post something with. She also captioned this, I knew not to come up to her, and then left several comments saying I was rude.
First of all, how would you know she's rude if you didn't even come up to her? Second of all, who gives a fuck? We're not fashion show people. We were self-deprecating. We're making fun of ourselves, all right?
1, they didn't dress me. 2, if you're inviting Tana Mongeau to a fashion show, you're not inviting her for fashion commentary.
Yeah.
3, we took photos with everyone there, and we were so nice to them. Were we not nice?
Yeah, I was so
nice.
nice.
Was I nice? I was so nice.
She was making fun of the fact that she brought me to a fashion show. Now imagine I brought her to a UFC fight. She would say, look at me pretending to be interested in these goons.
Yeah. So all in all, we had a great time at Cherry Hill. Thank you so much for inviting us. We enjoyed the show. We met her daughter. Thank you so much to Monica for making that TikTok, calling us awful cunts, even though we had a great time. And for
Shout out
helping
to
us.
Cherry Hill for inviting us personally.
and helping us conceptualize the idea of micro podcasting. Let us know if you guys enjoyed this and any topics you'd like us to talk about in the next micro podcast.
I came up with the idea for it, actually.
How was that for our first scandal?
I don't know if we'll ever come back from it.
But yeah, let me know what you guys think about the situation in the comments down below. Are you surprised that Tana was hanging out with David after saying that she wasn't going to? And how do you think Jeff is going to respond to all of this? Or if he does? Also, do you think that Tana and Jeff were rightfully called out for seeming a bit ungrateful about being invited to New York Fashion Week? Let me know all your thoughts in the comments down below.